Friends and fellow devotees of the Lord, namaskars to every one of you. In one of his shlokas, Sant Kabir has the following words: when a saint dies, why must you shed tears? He has just returned to his home. Weep over the death of a worldly man who is sold in the market from shop to shop. Kabir knew what it was to live. He knew what it was to die. Therefore he tells us in one of his immortal verses, everyone has to die, but few know how to die in the right way. Kabir has died while he lives, and he will never have to die again. To read the life of Kabir, to meditate on his death, is a spiritual discipline in itself. For this great weaver saint had so much to teach us. The account we have of his death is truly moving. It is said that Kabir covered himself with a shawl and instructed that he should be left alone to die in peace. As his end neared, his disciples began a heated argument about how his final rites should be performed. The Muslim followers were determined that he should be buried like a true Muslim. As for his Hindu disciples, it was inconceivable that his mortal remains should be handled in any other mode apart from cremation according to Hindu rites. While their arguments reached a crescendo, it is said that Kabir's voice was heard over the din. Just take the shawl away and see what I have left behind. The quarreling disciples rushed to lift the shawl away, and what they saw underneath were a bunch of fresh, beautiful flowers. By the final miraculous act, Kabir had effectively demonstrated that saints belong to all humanity and that they were above all narrow divisions of caste and creed and community. Do not shed tears when saints leave their physical body behind. St. Francis' prayer offers us the same idea for our inspiration, for it is by giving that one receives. It is by forgetting self that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. This is the common message left to us by most of our sadhus, sants and sages when they depart this earth. May I say to you, there is a reason behind their wise words. The reason is that saints take birth upon this earth to mitigate human suffering. They take birth to kindle the divine spark among the men and women who are trapped in worldly temptations, men and women who are suffocated in the maya of this illusionary world. Let me repeat, saints are born for a specific purpose. They descend on this earth to redeem our sins and to do good to mankind. The purpose of a saint's life is entirely different from the goal of life that an ordinary man sets for himself. When a saint has completed his life's mission and moves on to the golden shore, we should actually bow our heads down and offer a tribute to him and rejoice in the accomplishment of his worldly mission because he has returned to his homeland. Sant Kabir was a rare and unique saint. He taught that this earth is not our home, it is a traveler's inn. Our stay here is for a brief while. He also described the world as a school where we have come to learn lessons we need to learn. But coming here, we have forgotten the purpose of our visit and easily yield to temptations of lust, hatred, greed, egoism. Sant Kabir taught that each one of us is in reality a swan, pure, white, radiant, but coming here we have drunk the wine of Maya, and in the intoxication of the senses we have forgotten our true selves. Thus the swans begin to think of themselves as crows. Kabir's clarion call to everyone who met him or joined his fellowship was, "O swan bird of the soul, speak to me of your true homeland, where you really belong. You are not a creature of the earth earthy. You are an immortal soul." And yet Kabir tells us everyone has to die, but few know how to die in the right way. Have you ever asked yourself the question, what is this world, this earth on which you and I find ourselves? To this question a number of answers have been given. One of the answers which to me appears to be significant is, this world is a traveller's inn. The world is a musafir khana, a caravanserai. We all are travellers. We are here on a short visit. Life at its longest is still so brief. Some of us may live to be centenarians, yet the day will come in the life of everyone when, bidding adieu to his wife and children, his friends and relatives, his kith and kin, his properties and possessions, the institutions he has founded and nourished with the love of his heart, man will quit the scenes of life. Man is here as a traveller. We all are travellers. Our stay on earth is for a limited period. As we came to this earth plane, one day we shall have to move out of it. No one has stayed on the earth forever. No one can stay on the earth forever. Leaving the earth is what we call death, even as coming to the earth is called birth. Death is a natural phenomenon. For whosoever is born must surely die. Why then are we afraid of death? A sister once said to me, whenever I think of death, my whole body begins to tremble in fear. Many of us I know are afraid of death. And the very first thought that I would wish to pass on to you today is, let us not be afraid of death. Death is a natural phenomenon. Moreover, death is a very pleasant experience. Death is just like going off to sleep. Whenever I am called to a place where someone has died, the very first thing that I tell them is this: do not weep, do not shed tears, do not grieve over the passing away of your dear one, for he is not dead. He lives in the life that is undying. When you indulge in weeping and wailing, you do harm to your dear departed ones. The more you grieve over them, the more we cling to them, and so become a hindrance in their progress on the other side. We must not cling to them, but we must release them so that in their new journey they may move on, ever onward, forward, Godward. We should remember them in our prayers, and every day we should do some little deeds of service in their name. This will bless them and help them in their new journey. It is only because we have not understood properly what death is that we are afraid of death. Therefore, let us understand what death is. It was Bacon who said, men fear death as children fear to go in the dark. We fear the unknown. We do not know what may happen to us in the moment of death. We do not know what will be our condition when death comes to lay its icy hands upon our body. We have always pictured the angel of death as a dark, sinister being who will come and throttle us. The whole world is afraid of death. Everyone wishes to know what is happening on the other side of death, but no one is prepared to die. If there is one thing we all wish to avoid, it is death. The happy ones do not wish to die, but even the unhappy ones, those that lead a miserable existence, do not wish to die. I think it is not without significance that Kabir's mortal remains were turned into flowers. Truly, Kabir lived like a flower. Wherever he went, he spread the fragrance of his love-filled life. His teaching can be summed up in 2 words: detach, attach. Detach yourself from the world, its pelf, pleasure, power, and attach yourself to the lotus feet of the Lord, where alone love, joy, and peace. Let us live in the world, but let us not allow the world to live within us. Or as Sri Ramakrishna often said, let the boat float over the waters, but let not water enter the boat. Talking of Sri Ramakrishna, I recall how when this great saint passes away, his wife Sri Sharda Mani, who is revered as the Holy Mother by thousands of her devotees scattered all over the world, said to herself, my revered husband has died. I have become a widow. I must no longer wear the bangles that are on my wrists. Around her wrists were the ivory bangles which she had worn when as a little girl she had got married. In the meantime her wrists had grown in size, and howsoever hard she tried to put off the bangles, they would not come off. She actually picked up a hammer with which to break the bangles. She was about to strike when she heard a voice. It was the voice of Sri Ramakrishna. She listened to the voice, but she was startled. He had died the previous night. How could it be his voice talking to her now? She looked up, and she actually saw Sri Ramakrishna standing before her. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa said to her, Sharada, Sharada, what is this that you are doing? I am not dead. I have but moved on from one room to another. May these words of the saint linger long in the hearts of some of you who hear my broken words today. Death is moving on from one room to another. Why then must I fear death? We do not die. We only drop the physical body and move on from one room to another room, which is far better and brighter than this room we live in. Gurudev Sadhu Aswani likened the death of the body to the sunset. He said to us, sunset is only an appearance. For what is sunset here is sunrise elsewhere. In reality, the sun never sets. Likewise, there is no death. Death is only an illusion, an appearance. For death here is birth elsewhere. What is death? Was the question which we put to Gurudev once, and he said, death is a bridge. Yes, death is a bridge between the physical world and the astral world. When death comes, we leave the physical world and pass over the bridge to enter the astral world, which is a better, nobler, richer, more beautiful, more radiant world, the astral world. It is in this context we are asked again and again to celebrate the death anniversaries of the holy ones. On the Mahayagna day of Gurudev Sadhu Aswani, we take out a Deepak Yatra to Sadhu Aswani's Chowk or square, where we have a beautiful lifelike statue of the Master. How I wish some of you could be with us on that soul-stirring occasion. The January night is crisp and clear and cold. It is a beautiful sight to behold the devotees dressed in white, carrying little lamps, lit in their hands and placing them before the Master's memorial. The whole area is lit up with brightness and seems as if it is wrapped in a heavenly glow. I sometimes think that it is the Master's radiant soul that is illuminating the evening, and along with it all our lives, which he has touched with his enlightened presence. I invite you to join us for this beautiful Deepak Yatra when you are in Pune. You will then understand why I say to you again and again, a saint's death is to be celebrated and not bereaved. Let me say to you, a saint's life is not a bed of roses. These great souls who take birth on this earth to help liberate the rest of us, they face many trials and tribulations. They suffer a great deal. They walk the path of tapasya, austerity. They renounce the world and live a life of utter self-denial. They undergo all this for the spiritual welfare of all mankind. Saints are criticized and castigated. Even Christ was not spared, and before he breathed his last on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. A saint will always bless everything and everyone around him. He will forgive and forget all the wrong that has been done to him, for that is the nature of the truly holy man. That is why Sant Kabir says, do not shed tears when the saint returns to his homeland. You may, however, cry as much as you want to when the ignorant one dies. The word used in Kabir's Doha is sakat. Sakat is the one who is selfish, who is egoistic, and who is bound by worldly desires. Weep over the passing away of the wretched worldly man who is sold from shop to shop. Let us reflect further on this tomorrow. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.